Hi, it's Emma from Living in Perfect Harmony. I'm doing a workshop tomorrow. Most of the information, like the time and such, is up on the events on Facebook. I'll pop a link below to my Facebook page, and it's also on the website livinginperfectharmony.net. So the workshop tomorrow is going to be about healing, not just for adults but for children as well, and the importance of why we need to do it, especially for children. If a child has gone through a trauma, like my eldest daughter when she was 2 was sexually abused by someone, and we were told to kind of not talk about it and let her forget, which we did do. But now she's 22 and it's actually starting to have an effect. It's obviously become a repressed memory. She doesn't remember, but I've had to tell her she didn't remember. I've had to tell her about it now and help her through that because of the effects it was having on her adult life. She found it very hard at school, and she found it hard in relationships since then, and a few other things, but I'll touch on all that in the workshop tomorrow. So it is really important that any child that goes through a trauma, don't make them forget. It's not the best thing. They should deal with it as much as they can. And obviously if they're too young, that's a bit different. You can wait until they're older, maybe, if you start seeing any signs that this could be affecting them in some way, and we'll go over the signs again in the workshop. Also, why we need to heal and the importance of that. So our vibration can rise up and we're able to manifest the life we want. So we want to stop these cycles of continuing negativity. Everything always bad seems to happen to you. It doesn't matter what you try and do. If you have ever done any law of attraction, you're finding that it's not working for you, that's normally a sign why. And it can also be because you also have repressed emotions from when you were a child. I've recently had some come up, completely took me by surprise. I had no idea. I was sexually abused as a child as well, and it has had an effect on me. I thought a lot of my issues I'd dealt with because of the things I could remember, I healed, but then I found there was still a feeling in my tummy that wasn't quite right. I was trying to manifest and it wasn't really working that well. I still had blocks, and so I started doing a meditation to help release any form of negative energies or entities that might have still been attached to me. And it's through that meditation, which I received from my higher self, universal oneness, I was able to adapt it to fit me, and it helped me release those repressed emotions, and they started coming in, and then I was able to heal them and release them. Now I'm a lot further along the path, so your repressed emotions won't come up straight away. They kind of, universal oneness or your spirit guides, whatever, angels, whatever you want to call them, they're kind of good like that. They'll let you do some of the smaller stuff. They'll let you go on to the bigger stuff of things you do remember. So by that time, you're kind of in a flow of healing stuff and letting it go. And, the pain's already gone. If you've got CPTSD, then that's also, each time you heal something, that's getting less and less and less as well. Our anxiety lowers right down. So then by the time we get to this point with the repressed emotions, I mean, most people, if they found out they were sexually abused as a child, I think it might finish them off. They might end up in hospital or something with a breakdown. Whereas because I'd already dealt with a lot of stuff, learned how to heal it all, and how to change my perspective on stuff as well. When you come out of victim mode and don't feel like a victim anymore, and realise that these things happen to us for lessons and, you know, to help us on our spiritual path. When we do awaken and heal from this, we're then able to go on and help others be able to heal from this. So so that's why these things happen. So when you change your perspective on that, again, that makes it a lot easier to be able to let go of. I mean, of course, it was upsetting and it hurt. You know, I realised things about my dad and other family members, you know, which wasn't nice. But because I'm out of that place now and in this place where I now teach and help and guide others, I've just been able to adapt that to be able to then help, you know, you and my daughter and things like that. So we'll also cover some affirmations, which again help to release these things. So you're calling in universal oneness and helping them to be able to take that stuff away for you as well. So we'll cover that in the workshop. I'll teach you how to do your cleansing breaths. This helps with your anxiety. So when we do these cleansing breaths every day, if you're in a situation, you might be out in public and you feel your anxiety rising, you can do these cleansing breaths and it helps lower that anxiety straight back down again. I've already touched on CPTSD. So we will learn how to personally cure that. I've personally cured mine myself. I have been in and out of hospital over the years with depression and things like that. I've had like 2 major breakdowns, probably a bit more than that. And, you know, nothing worked at all until I started doing the things that I'm going to teach you in this workshop. And now I'm completely CPTSD free. My anxiety is greatly reduced. I hardly get that at all, unless the energies in the air are quite strong. Sometimes that can bring up a bit of anxiety, but doing the cleansing breaths helps to release all that and, you know, bring it back down again, calm yourself. We'll go over how to ground as well. That's another good thing with helping with the anxiety. We'll also cover about why the importance of doing the little things so you can then move on to the big things. So if you're feeling really overwhelmed and anxious with stuff, you want to make sure you're doing your daily tasks every day so it doesn't like build up like a big pressure cooker. So, you know, if you know you've got an email to send or a phone call to make and you might be procrastinating and putting it off and your head's spinning because you've got PTSD or CPTSD, you know, our mind is constantly going round and round and round. So when you've got these smaller things to do, that can build up, and as I say, it's like a pressure cooker, you just want to explode. So if you can focus on those daily tasks, that will greatly reduce the pressure that you're under, and then that will also allow you then to be able to deal with the bigger aspects that you need to heal from your past. That will also help stop that repeated cycle of things just going from bad to worse all the time. So we'll cover all that. We'll also go over how to tell if you actually have any repressed memories. I've actually touched on that in the beginning of the video, but we'll go into more detail there. Again, releasing the cycles, like I've just said. Visualizations, they're a great technique to envision the future that you want rather than living in that fear all the time, and you know that cycle, as I talked about, keeping on repeating itself. So we'll go over visualizations as well, and also programming. Our minds are like a computer. So when we watch things like TV, misguided parents, things like that, schools, you know, everything kind of programs the mind into believing the worst, basically. Like money mindset, for instance, you know, if your nana's always said, or your mum's always said, you need to work hard for money, or you know, they teach you to be careful with money, so you hold on to it a bit too much, that blocks the flow. Actually, it's meant to be equal give and take with everything. So I mean, it's the same with healing as well. That's not just money, you know, healing, anything. The beliefs that are in your mind, in your subconscious mind, are also the things that are holding you down in lack. They're keeping you back. They're making this, you know, feeling as though you're going through the trauma again and again and again, even though it might have happened years ago. This is all programming, so we will be covering that as well tomorrow, and how to get rid of that programming for good. So I just want to pop on and explain a little bit about what the workshop will be. If you go onto livinginperfectharmony.net, you can book there. I'll pop the link in the description below. You can also go on Facebook, and it's under events in that section. Now I'm going to offer this program. The first 3 spaces will be $88, and then the rest will be $111 for the other spaces. So if you want to book with me directly on Facebook, I'll pop the link below again so you can get straight to my profile. If you're one of the first 3, then you will get the workshop for $88. And then the rest, when that's closed, I will be putting a link up when those spaces have gone. And then if you just go direct through the website, you can then get it for $111. So that's pretty much it. So I hope to see you in the workshop tomorrow. Lots of love and light to everybody. Namaste.